Hi and welcome to week 13 of the TheMathsTutor.ie Leaving Cert Ordinary Level Maths 30-week countdown. As always, the full 30-week countdown is available on the TheMathsTutor.ie website for all the full members. For everyone else, we're going to make a couple of the videos available like we always do every week. So there's two videos that we're going to make available this week, both on financial maths. So this week we're looking at financial maths, and the two videos that are available, the first one is the 2014 paper 1 question 7. And this question is about depreciation and savings and things like that. And the 2018 paper 1 question 1 is the second one. And this is about contracts and earning and how you can figure out which is the best contract to go for making salary, for making money. So when we're dealing with financial maths, we're obviously dealing with money. So we're going to be seeing a couple of questions today where we're going to be looking at calculating things to do with money. So the first thing to point out to you guys here today is that there are a couple of formulas from the tables. So this is page 30 of your maths tables. And what you'll see here is that there's a couple of formulas. One that says F is equal to P times 1 plus I to the T, which is compound interest, where it says F is the final value and P is the principal. So the principal is the amount of money that you put in, and the final value is the amount of money you get out. I is the interest rate, and it has to be as a decimal. So it says that up here. I is the annual rate of interest, depreciation, or growth expressed as a decimal or a fraction. So rather than giving it as a percentage. So we deal with it as a percentage a lot, but if we're putting it into the formula, just make sure that it's a decimal or a fraction. And to the power of t, so t is going to be the length of time that it's in there. You'll also see that the formula for depreciation is in here, and that's F is equal to P times 1 minus I to the t. So they can be useful formulas to use from page 30 of your tables. But the first question we're going to be looking at today is all about VAT. So this is paper 1 2021 question 1, and this question is going to be all about VAT. So I see that we've got VAT mentioned in all of these questions, but they're all going to be a little bit different how they deal with VAT. So sometimes the VAT is going to be included, sometimes I'm going to be working at the VAT, and sometimes I want to know what the percentage is before the VAT is added on, or how much there is before the VAT is added on. So VAT is value added tax. So it's a tax that's included in everything that's sold here in Ireland. And it has different VAT rates. So in 2021, the question had 21% VAT rate. Just make sure you're reading the question, because it can be a different VAT rate for different parts of different questions, because VAT is charged at different rates. So just to make sure that you note what rate we're talking about. And it's normally given as a percentage, so you can use a percentage on your calculator. So there is a percentage button that you can use on your calculator. It's over the equals or the answer button, so here on this calculator. So we can see that if I want to put in that percentage button, I'm going to be pressing the shift and then the answer button, and that'll give me a percentage. So that will put in a percentage for me. So the first question, question 1 part A, says a television costs €380 before VAT at 21% has been added. Find the cost of the television after VAT has been added. So what we're looking for is we're going to be looking at, well, what percentage do we have and what percentage do we want? So there's a couple of different ways of dealing with these. So what I'm going to look at here is if it's before VAT, that means that we have 100%. And we want to find the cost after VAT. So that's what we're looking to find. So that means the VAT is going to be the 100% that we have before plus the 21% of VAT. So we're looking for 121% in this part A. So we have the total cost before the VAT is always 100%. And then this time we want to add on 21% VAT. So you can absolutely find 21% of the 380 and then add that on. So what I'm going to do though is I'm going to say we have 380 and that is 100%. So we could say divide by 100%, or we can just jump straight to multiply by 121%, because we want 121% of the €380, and on the calculator that gives me €459.80. And remember, when it's money, we're going to 2 decimals unless it asks me for anything else. So if it says to the nearest euro or anything like that, I do different rounding, but normally I'll give 2 decimals. So I would just take that and multiply by 121%, because that's the percentage that I want straight away. In the part B, it says when the VAT is included. So this time we're including the VAT. It increases by €130.20. So this is a different laptop that we're looking at. So that means that the €130.21 is the 21% VAT. And we want to find the total cost of the laptop, including VAT. So we want the 121% again. But this time we don't have the 100% to start with. So we're going to say, well, we have €130.20, and that is 21%. So if I divide that by 21%, it'll give me 1%. And when I multiply that then by 121%, it'll give me the total cost. So when I put that into my calculator using my percentage button, I'm going to get €750.20. So that's the total cost of the laptop. Now, absolutely, again, I could take the €130.20 and divide it by the 21, and then I can say multiply that by 100 to get the price of the laptop without the VAT, and then add on the €130.20 and you'll get the total cost. So there are lots of different ways of doing these. A lot of the time people will use percentages instead of writing 121%. You might write that as 1.21. Or you might write it as 121 out of 100 if you prefer to use fractions. So this is using the percentage button on the calculator, and just make sure you're always putting in that percentage button. Or you can write it as a decimal as 1.21, or you can write it as a fraction as 121 over 100. So they're all going to give you the exact same answer and use them the same way. So the third part then, this time it says a printer is priced at €290.40, including VAT. So this time we have the VAT included. So that means that this is going to be our 121%. So we have 121%. So this time we're asking, find how much VAT is included. So we want to know the 21% VAT. So just how much is the VAT rather than how much does it cost before VAT. So this time I'm going to say €290.40, and I'm going to divide it by the 121%, and I'm going to multiply that by 21% to work out the VAT, and that's going to give me €50.40 VAT is included. So that's 3 different questions there that they asked about VAT, all using the exact same rate of 21%. So there was a lot of 121% in it. So in the first one, we had 100 and wanted 121. In the second one, we had the 21% and wanted the 121%. And in the last one, we had the 121% and wanted the 21%. So it's just to be careful that you're reading the question. So you're really reading, what are they asking me and how am I going to answer this question? So just take your time with them and work out what percentages you're dealing with. So that was 2021 question 1. There was another question, so this was a question 7. So this was a longer question from section B. So it's going to take a little bit more time to get through. So this question is about the universal social charge in Ireland. So the universal social charge is something that's deducted from wages. So you've got tax deducted from wages, which might be PAYE, you have insurance deducted from wages, PRSI, and then you also have universal social charge, which is deducted from wages. And there can be other deductions that people have as well. So just to read through the question. So this question was about standard rates and thresholds for the USC for 2020. And these change as well. So like our VAT percentages change, our USC rates change. So just make sure that you're reading the question and seeing what VAT rate or what USC rate are they describing in a question. So with this one, for the first €12,012, everyone pays 0.5% USC. For the next 8,472, you pay 2%. For the next 49,560, you pay 4.5%, and the rest, so that's what we mean by the balance. So the rest of the money is paid at the top rate, and they haven't told us that yet. We're going to have to calculate that later in the question. So the first question, part A here, says, at what level of annual income does a worker start paying the top rate of USC? So what we're going to have to do is we're going to add together the numbers that they've given us already, and we're going to say, well, after that, they're going to start paying at the higher rate. So we're going to take the 12,012, the 8,472 and the 49,560 euro and add those together. And when we add those together, we get 70,044 euro. So that means that once we get to 70,044 euro, everything else after that will be paid at the top rate. And remember, with these rates here, so it's anything up as far as these values is going to be at that rate. So part B then says, how much USC will a worker have paid in total if they pay the maximum amount due at each of the first three rates? So we're looking at these three rates here, and we're saying we're going to pay the maximum amount. So how much do we have to pay? So for the first 12,012, we're going to have to pay 0.5%. And again, I would use the percent button on my calculator. And when I do that, I'm going to get €60.06. For the next 8,472, we pay 2%. So again, on the calculator by 2%, and that gives €169.44. And for the next 49,560, we're paying at 4.5% USC, and that gives us €2,230.20. So then the total amount that they're going to have paid is we're going to add those figures together. So €60.06, €169.44, €2,230.20, and they all get added together, and that gives a total of 2,459.70. So if they're earning paying the top rate for each of these bands, we're going to get a total of €2,459.70 being paid in USC. So then we're going to get a concrete example. So John's annual income is 54,800. Find the amount of USC that he will pay. So we need to work out, well, where is he being paid, or what bands is he going to have to use? So we know that from part A that we don't start paying the top rate of USC until we earn 70,044, and he's earning 54,800, so he's not going to be paying the top rate of USC. But for the first part, we need to work out how much is his income, where is it going to fall? So for the first €12,012, we know from part B that that's going to be €60.06. For the next 8,472, we know that it's going to be €169.44. But then we need to work out, well, how much else is he being paid? So we're going to take those two figures, the 12,012 and the 8,472, and we're going to add those together, and that gives 20,484. So that's how much he's paying at bands 1 and band 2. And then we're saying for the next 49,000, so the next 49,000 out of his 54,800 should be falling into there. So we subtract that to work out how much is he paying in band 3. So when we subtract that, we get 34316 in band 3. So we know that his first 12,012 is at the smallest percent, so that's at the 0.5%. His next 8,472 is at 2%, and then the rest of his salary is going to be in this third band at 4.5%. So I don't need to work out these first two parts because they're done here, but I will need to work out this part. So I'm going to take the 34,316, and we're going to be paying 4.5% USC on all of that. that. So when we multiply that by 4.5%, we get 154422. So that's for band 3. But his total amount of USC that he's going to pay is going to be his band 1, which was 60,060. And 6, his band 2, which is 169.44, and his band 3, which is €1,544.22. So we're going to add together those three figures to get a total USC of €1,773.72 total USC. So that's his total USC that he is going to pay on his 54,800. The part D of this question is going to be a little bit different. So this time it tells us how much USC Mary pays, and we want to work out her income. So she's being paid €1,602, pays €1,602.72 in USC. So we know that that's her total USC. Her band 1 is still going to be at 0.5%, and her band 2, the next 8,472, is going to be at 2%. So these two figures are going to be staying the same again. So we're going to add those together and take them away from how much that she has been paid. So we're going to subtract those from her figure. So we're going to say 1,600, switch pen. So we're going to be saying €1,602.72. Take away her €60.06 plus her €169.44, and that means that she is paying €1,373.22 is her USC in band 3. So that's how much of her USC is coming from the third band. So that's coming from this piece here. So that's at 4.5%, which means that this is 4.5% of her salary in that section. So if that is 4.5%, I want to say, well, what is 100% in that section? So I'm going to divide by 4.5% and multiply by 100%. I want her total salary in that section, and that gives me 30,516. So that's how much is her salary in band 3. But I want her total salary. So I need her salary in band 1 and her salary in band 2 and her salary in band 3. So in band 1, we have 12,012. In band 2, we have 8,472. And now in band 3, we have 30,516. So we're going to add those three figures together, and when we do, we get a total salary of €51,000. So that's Mary's total income. So in that case, we had to work out that her first band and her second band are going to be exactly the same thing that we had worked out in part B. So I don't have to start calculating them again. It's just how much extra is there of USC that she is paying, and that's all going to be from band 3. And if it's from band 3, it is 4.5%. So we want her total salary in that band 3. And then we're going to add together her salary band 1, band 2, and band 3 to find her total income. The last part then, this is where we're going to calculate the top rate of USC. So we're told that Patrick has an annual income of 83,000. So we said that the top rate was going to kick in once we had reached that €70,044. So we know that he is definitely paying tax in that, our USC, in that top band, but we want to know how much is he paying from that top band. So we can see that he pays this much in USC, so €3,496.18 in USC. And we had worked out back here that if you were paying the total in the maximums in each of them, you would be paying €2,459.70. So we're going to subtract those to figure out how much USC he is paying in the top band. So 3,496.18 minus the €2,459.70 tells us that he is paying €1,036.48 in the top USC band. Okay, so that's how much he is paying in the top USC. But we also want to know, well, how much money is being calculated, or is that USC being calculated on? So he is being paid 83,000. And we know that the top band doesn't kick in until he's earned 70,044 cents. So that means that he's earning or paying USC on the top 12,956 cent USC charge band 4, excuse me. Okay, so he's going to be charged the top band on this 12,956. And when he is charged that, he gets a bill for that top USC of €1,036.48. So now we want to say, well, what percentage of the €12,956 is that €1,036.48? So I'm going to turn this over this into a fraction. So the €1,036.48 out of the €12,956 that he is paying that top USC. And to turn anything into a percentage, we multiply by 100 or 100 over 1. And when we put that into our calculator, it gives us 8%. So the calculator will just say 8, but I know that I'm making it a percentage by writing it as a fraction and multiplying by 100. So I'm going to put in the percentage button. So there's a little bit of work in that last one, so it'll take a little bit of time to figure out what they're asking. So we have this top income of 83,000. We know that the top USC doesn't kick in until 70,044. So that means that the €12,956 is going to be the top band of USC. And we know that if you pay the first 3 bands the maximum in them, you're paying €2,459.70. And we know that Patrick pays €3,496.18. So when we subtract those, we get €1,036.48. So that's the amount of top USC he's paying out of how much he's charged at the top USC, write it as a fraction and multiply by 100. So there's a few different types of question there, all about USC. And again, we just need to make sure that we're reading the question and using the figures that they give us, because these figures change in the bands and these percentages change. Okay, so just to make sure that you're keeping an eye on those. Okay. Our next question then is 2020 paper 1 question 1, and this is going to be about working out salaries. So in this question, John works as part of a sales team. He earns a basic rate of €12.60 per hour. So that's his wages is going to be €12.60 per hour. And in addition to this, he earns a commission of 22% on sales above €200. So if he only sells €180 in whatever he's selling in his team, he won't make any commission. It's only above the €200, and we need to keep that in mind. So during a particular week, John worked 45 hours at the basic rate and made sales amounting to €350. Find John's gross pay for this week. Okay, so he worked 45 hours at the basic rate. So we're going to be saying that's €12.60 being multiplied by 45 hours, and that gives us €567. So that's his basic salary or his basic wages for this week. But he also had sales, and his sales were $350. But he only gets commission on anything above 200. So we need to subtract that 200 to say €150 of sales for commission. And out of that €150 sales for commission, that's going to be at 22%. So I'm going to multiply by 22% to see how much he gets in commission for those. And that works out to be €33. So his gross pay is going to be adding together his hours that he worked was €567, plus his commission was €33, and when we combine those, we get a gross pay of €600. And a gross pay is before any deductions. So it's without having paid tax or USC or PRSI or anything like that. We describe that as the gross pay, and his take-home pay is described as his net pay. The second part of this question says, during the following week, John worked 51 hours. So now he's working more hours. So this included 3 hours on a Sunday. And if he works on a Sunday, he receives 1.5 times the basic rate. Okay, so this is sometimes called time and a half. So time and a half means you're getting paid the same amount plus another half. So it's 1.5 times the basic rate. So we're going to start by working that out. So he was getting €12.60 per hour, but we're going to multiply that by 1.5. And that means for these Sunday hours where he's getting time and a half, he's getting €18.90 per hour. Okay, so that's how much he gets paid per hour on a Sunday. This week, he worked 51 hours in total, but 3 of those were on a Sunday. So we're going to work out how many hours on a Sunday. So 51 hours, or how many hours for the rest of the week, excuse me, minus 3 hours Sunday tells me that he worked 48 other hours, or regular hours. Okay. So to work out his pay for these, we now have 2 different sets of hours that we need to work out. So we have €12.60 is multiplied by his 48 regular hours, and that's going to give me €604.80. And he also has these 3 hours where he's going to get paid €18.90 because he's getting paid time and a half for those, and that's €56.70. So his total hourly pay for this week is going to be add these 2 numbers together. So €604.80 plus €56.70, and when we add those numbers together, we're going to get €661.50. So that's his pay for hours. Okay, so we know how much he's gotten paid for the 51 hours. Then we have to look at how much he got paid in total. So he got €713.20 in his gross pay this week. So we're going to say €713.20 minus this €661.50 for his hours. And when we subtract that, it means there was €51.70 commission, because that's where the rest of his money comes from, or the rest of his pay comes from, is from the commission. So his total salary for this week, or his total wages, were €713.20, but we've worked out that the hourly pay was €661.50, so the rest of it is commission. And this is the 22% commission over €200 sales. So this is going to be 22%. So we want to know, well, what is 100%? So we're going to say €51.70 divided by that 22%. And that gives me €235. So that means that there was €235 was the 100% of his sales over €200. So his total sales, because that's what this question was, find the amount of sales that he made in that week, is that we know he made €235 plus the €200 that he doesn't get any commission on, means that he made €435 in sales this week. So that's our final answer for that part of the question. So there's a couple of different things coming up there. So we're seeing that we have questions about VAT, where VAT is included or isn't included, and we have to look at our different percentages. And we've seen questions about USC, so we've seen how we add them on. There's questions about income tax as well that are worked out in a similar way. And there's questions like this about salaries and sales. And just to remember that there's 2 videos there for you to watch after this lesson. So one of them is the 2014 question 7, and that's on another aspect of financial maths on depreciation and savings. So on things losing value and on savings, so saving money. And then there's a question 2018 question 1, which is about contracts and earning money as well. So hopefully you found this lesson on financial maths to be useful. Thanks.